the thing for me that is everything that we do and create at GQuest, it must be done by the eyes of the students. So from the journey that we map to everything that we deliver, it is always from the customer's point of view.
You're listening to CX Passport, the show about creating great customer experiences with a dash of travel talk. Each episode, we'll talk with our guests about great CX, travel, and just like the best journeys, explore new directions we never anticipated. I'm your host, Rick Denton. I believe the best meals are served outside and require a passport. Let's get going. I am absolutely delighted to make a return to Brazil to talk with today's guest. Not only do I love the country for its beauty, its food, its culture, I am truly fascinated by the focus on customer experience there. That's why it's a treat for me today, and I know it's going to be a treat for CX Passport travelers today when we get to talk with Jennifer Meunier, Head of Customer Experience and Product for G4 Educação. It's not a company I knew of until earlier this year when they won Best Customer Experience Team at the 2023 Arquette Global Customer Centricity World Series. And they were amongst some really stiff competition and still came out with the victory. This is an amazing story of this company. It's a great story about G4, and I know that I'm eager for Jennifer to share that story. Jennifer came to G4 when it was a startup. Just a startup brought in to build the customer experience team and establish a customer-focused culture within that company. Now, clearly the results, as evidenced by the victory, say she has been successful there indeed. Prior to G4 in Brazil, Jennifer spent her early career in the Accor Group, a global hospitality group based in France. This came after graduating in hospitality management in France as well. You know that hospitality experience influences her approach to customer experience today. When Jennifer and I were talking about her being on CX Passport, she had just returned from a 2-week trip to another one of my favorite countries in the world, Thailand. I know some of those stories are going to make their way into today's episode as well. Jennifer, welcome to CX Passport.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me today. I am thrilled to be here.
And I'm thrilled to have you there. Listeners who, well, I guess I should say viewers who are seeing this on YouTube or on any of the other video sites, that view that you see behind Jennifer is the glorious view of Sao Paulo. So we are talking to Jennifer today on a glorious Sao Paulo afternoon, evening, and I am excited to get into that and talk to you in Brazil. Now, I know that CX Passport listeners are a global bunch indeed. They are travelers around the world as well. I do suspect that aside from my Brazilian listeners, many may not know about G4 Educação. Would you share a little bit about what G4 does?
Of course, that would be my pleasure actually to share a little bit about the company and also me and my team. And G4 Educação is actually a business school for entrepreneurs and owners. And our purpose is to support managers in their journeys so that they develop companies and transform the economic and social reality of Brazil. And we do that actually through education with our in-person courses. And our students learn concepts, practices, and tools from the fastest growing companies in the world that we translated into the reality of their business. So we actually prize for applicable contents and mentors, not professors, very different from traditional academic institutions. And what motivates us is to work at G4 is our BHAG, our big, hairy, audacious goal, which is to generate 1 million jobs to our students by 2030. And we have already passed the mark of 350,000 this year. So it is a huge achievement for us. And it also, I think, validates everything that we have been doing so far for our students. So we are also known as an ed tech, and it is the combination of education and technology, which the goal is to improve actually student outcomes and increase individualized education. And actually, the simpler way, we offer solutions for entrepreneurs that wouldn't have the time today to do an MBA over a year or two and stay away for so long of their operations. So I think that's an overview of the company.
I like the overview. And even though I knew your company coming to awareness through the awards, there were some things that you said in there that really caught my ears. I want to talk about it later. I'm going to ask you something before this. Uh, the fact that you talked about it wasn't how many students did we have come in the door. That wasn't the goal. It was the jobs that the students obtained. You talked about it's the end result. And that's something that is a very strong or needs to be a very strong customer experience principle. It's great if we have a good customer experience, but what's the end result? And I loved hearing that. I want to learn a little more about how y'all are kind of approaching even your own customer experience. Before we get there, though, I want to talk about, I mentioned that you joined G4 when it was a startup. And it's a much different environment than what you described, with millions of opportunities created as a result of the work that y'all are doing. I'm curious, though, what stories do you have from that early startup time? What was it like building a team and establishing that customer-centric, that customer-oriented culture all the way back from the beginning?
Yeah, that's interesting because it's such a different scenario. And for me, it looks like it has been years, but I'm actually at G4 for 2.5 years. And when
this is only 2 years?
Yeah, it's only 2
Wait,
years.
I didn't even know that. Oh my gosh.
Everything is so fast. And when I entered G4 Educação, we had approximately 70 people. And it was such a smaller environment, a smaller office also. And everybody was responsible for doing everything, but also everybody knew everybody. So when we had a project to be done, it was like, okay, get together a little squad. And in 1-2 weeks, everything was done. But I think startups are characterized by rapid growth, and a focus on innovation and speed. And in this type of environment, employees and I need to be able to work quickly and effectively to help the company succeed. And for me, agility is one of the key aspects of working in a fast-paced startup. And I was first very surprised of how everything was last-minute demand, and we used to work on short-term notice most of the time. So yeah, it took me a little bit time to adapt, but I mean, that was the first impression, the first period that we have. And as you said,
No, keep going. No, keep going.
Yeah, I was going to the second phase actually, because as I said, I'm only here 2.5 years, and now we have 380 employees. So we have grown exponentially and also has our revenues. And so we entered in a second phase, and we took the decision last year to divide our company into business units. Are you familiar with the model? It is used in Amazon by Jeff Bezos, and we used it to separate business units in our company. And
tell me more about how y'all have separated, because certainly companies are broken into business units, but how have y'all done that? I know with the customer in mind, the end student, if you will.
Yes. Actually, the business units can operate independently and making decisions quickly and adapting to market changes more effectively. So here comes the customer part, So we divided ours into in-person immersions. This is the one that I'm responsible for. We have the online one. So all of our courses online. We have a B2B platform. And the last one is our community programs. So when you have clear separations between these units, each one is responsible for its own performance and outcomes. And this accountability, I think, can drive better decision making. And besides the business units separate, we also have chapters. So as a company, you have to maintain a certain level of pattern, and identity as a brand. So we have product chapter, marketing chapter, design chapter, and they are the ones that actually maintain the same pattern between all of the business units.
This is your captain speaking. I want to thank you for listening to CX Passport today. We've now reached our cruising altitude, so I'll turn that seatbelt sign off. While you're getting comfortable, hit that follow or subscribe button on your favorite podcast app so you'll never miss an episode. Love it if you'd tell a friend about CX Passport, leave a review so others can discover the show as well. Now, sit back and enjoy the rest of the episode.
It's certainly a very brilliant setup, right? I really love the idea, and yes, inspired by Amazon, many companies have adopted that approach of it's this independent ecosystem, this independent group that is going to have their own objectives. I'm curious, though, Jennifer, when I think about that, and I think about from a customer lens, the customer only knows the brand, G4 Educação. And listeners, I know, I'm trying my best at Portuguese. Just suffer with me, but I'm doing my best. But that's the customer thinks that brand, and so if you're broken into those groups, how do you help make sure that the groups are both independent and learning from each other and delivering towards an experience for the customer that allows the customer to see just one brand?
Nice. Actually, this is one of the challenges that we may face when you divide into business units, also with effective communication. But I think the challenges are more from inside out, We suffered a little bit more than our clients because everything that we talk about to our clients is about G4. And for each and every one of these business units, we actually have a real defined ICP, ideal customer profile. So we have a profile of a customer that is different from one another. But usually the in-person business units, it's actually the one that gets the clients through the company, and then we send them to the other ones, because they complement our products.
Okay. And so it kind of builds on each other. And I imagine you spoke of communication. There has to be that internal, and not necessarily literally individual customers, but an understanding of the customer as it flows through. Yeah, there's another. So you have that experience at Accor, the hospitality brand that folks in the U.S. may not know it as well, but it is a well-known global hospitality brand. And I imagine that there's a wealth of hospitality experiences that you gained there and you learned there, heck, as your hospitality that you studied in university as well. I'm curious, what have you taken from that hospitality industry experience and then brought it into your current role?
Well, I love that question because I love both of the worlds, I'm passionate about hospitality industry, but being in a startup has been very refreshing for me, especially after pandemic, because hospitality has suffered a lot. And for me, hospitality industry is a real school for a career. And the hospitality segment may seem like a traditional industry, but for me, there is actually a lot in common with the startup model. And I think it not only helped me with the CX concept, but it also helped me with the startup model and environment. I mean, a hotel is 24/7, so it never stops. And when you're a manager like I was, you're almost always on duty, So the hospitality industry is also a high pressure environment, and you're kind of forced to become a problem solver and dynamic manager and making quick decisions all the time. And that really helped me. And about the CX insights, I mean, there's so much that I've put into practices into G4, and that can be applied actually to various customer experience role across different domains, I think. Such as paying attention to details, be a problem solver, active listeners to our customers. And I mean, we can break down each of them, because there is like personalization and individualization, in hospitality, creating personalized experience for each guest is actually very crucial. Anticipating needs, which is something that I love to do with my team. In hospitality, staff often anticipate guest needs before they even express it, I think. And they demonstrate such a high level of attentiveness. And there's also how warm and welcome they are, how they create such a positive first and last impression. I mean, they should do, at least, each and every time you have an interaction during the hotel. Right. But the one thing that for me is the most important thing that I've brought to G4 is attention to detail. I mean, hospitality industry is known for its attention to small details that enhance the overall experience. And similarly, I mean, focusing on the finer points of customer interactions, from communication to service delivery, I think it can make a significant difference in customer satisfaction.
That's That is such a key part of hospitality. And
Yeah.
as I'm listening to you, I know that, you know that, anybody who's traveled knows that that
Yeah.
little touch, that flower or that scent that is in the hallway in the Intercontinental or whatever that is, those little touches matter. A lot of times we talk about hospitality, we talk about the heart and the warmth. We talk about the humanity of it, the
Yeah.
listening, the anticipating the needs. That little detailed touch that you're describing, that's something we don't talk about enough, even though we know it, we experience it, and it's an absolute part. And it's interesting to hear that you've brought that into the G4 universe
Yeah.
and how that applies. What would that look like? So I'm a student. What would a little touch look like for me as a student?
Well, we pay attention to all the details from the beginning
Mm-hmm.
that we start speaking to our student, because for you to purchase our in-person course, you have to pass through an interview. So from that moment, we
Oh,
already capture all of your informations. And so we understand, wow, his company is that big. He is at that moment of maturity of the company. So we took a lot of insights. And once you purchase it, like we 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 have a huge responsibility with you. So we try to make everything in the journey as easier as possible for you, for the
yeah.
students to focus 100% on the contents and how to grow his company, you know?
Oh, I love it. I love it. Jennifer, you just said you had told me when we talked earlier. I know some time has spanned since we talked the first time,
Yes,
but
yes.
you had just gotten back from Thailand, and you want to talk about a country, a culture, a people that are about the fine details. My gosh, I experienced that when I
Yes.
was in Thailand. It's one of my favorite places in the world. Now, I know I'm a little biased because I have a sister-in-law who's Thai. I think even without the family relations, it would be one of my favorite places in the world. I love it. So I want to know, tell me about your trip. Tell me about the trip. And are there any stories that you can share that, that you've actually brought back as a source of CX inspiration for your work there at G4?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it was such an amazing trip. I would have stayed there a lot more, and
Yeah.
it was everything I was hoping for and more, actually, because it is such a rich culture, and there is a lot of history, and I love the fact that there is so much contrast, between chaotic city like Bangkok and
Yeah.
on the other hand, like the calm in the temples, the Buddhism and meditation.
Hmm.
It is so
Hmm.
contrasting and it's beautiful. And there are two things that actually got my attention the most as a source of inspiration, that I would like to share. When I travel, I like to have the full experience on the country. So from the simplest thing to the luxurious one, I guess.
Yeah.
And I am a very curious person, so I love to be immersed in the culture of the country, to speak to locals. I mean, everything. And I'm the kind of girl that I would be eating food from the street and then going to a Michelin star right after. And
Yes. Amen.
and the first thing that got my attention is the high level of customer service they have there. I mean, from the simpler place to the most luxurious one. We spent the first days into what they call hostel. It's like a hostel in
Hmm.
Bangkok. And I had left the last night in Bangkok to stay at the So Bangkok, which is one of the most luxurious hotel there. And I was actually surprised because at both places, they just received us in the same level with a
Yeah.
ritual, with the same welcome. They were so concerned about us, about our well being, if we were happy about our trip, if we were enjoying it. But it was actually pretty much the same in both places. Very clean, very attentioned. I mean, that surprises me because they are very welcoming people, and the high quality of service from a low budget hotel to a luxury one was actually pretty much the same. And in all of our interactions actually during the trip. So that was beautiful. The second one is the part of the culture, that they have a lot of respect. They're always bending over. I mean, they truly respect your personal space. And, I come from,
Yeah.
I'm here in Brazil, so we are Latinos. So we are, we like to be close to each
It's
other.
an
We are,
embracing, it's an
yes,
affectionate culture. It's a very,
exactly.
collective.
We are huggers. We like to touch
Yes.
each
Let's just
other,
say
to
it.
kiss each
Yeah.
other. I mean, you had the
Yeah.
experience here. And most of the work that we do here at G4, doing most of the time with our students, is actually touchless. So our pre-class and our post-class is all done remotely, and we have a lot of communication with them, but they are all almost all tech touch, And so it got me thinking, how do we get to keep ourselves close and attentive even when being distant with them? And I think that's a little bit of what I got there. They were always smiling, always concerned about us, always smiling with the eyes, so happy. They show us so much gratitude. So I think this is something that we can, use in our day by day.
Oh, Jennifer, I mean, everything you just said is what I love about Thailand. It is, that is an interesting perspective that you brought there. I hadn't really thought of the fact that, coming from a very touch-oriented culture to one that is not so touch-oriented,
Yes.
and yet you still feel warmth there. That's a point that I'd never thought of before and haven't heard before. So I'm glad you shared that. I have now learned something even about a culture that I thought I knew pretty well and loved deeply. One thing I do know, and it's true of where I'm coming from, out of Texas, USA, true of you coming out of Sao Paulo, Brazil. Thailand's a long way away from where we live. And that travel can wear you down, and it can be nice to stop off in the lounge, especially the first class lounge. So today I'm going to invite you to stop off here with me in the first class lounge. We'll move quickly here and have a little bit of fun. Now, this may be the answer you've already told us, but I'm curious, what is a dream travel location from your past?
Well, no surprises here. It's actually Thailand. Yeah.
Thailand.
Yeah, I've always dreamed to go there. And it was everything I was expecting for. And I highly recommend to everyone, actually.
Well, I highly recommend it as well, just not too many of you, because I don't want everybody there, but it is a wonderful place, absolutely.
Yes.
Okay, let's go the other direction, Jennifer. What is a dream travel location you've not been to yet?
Actually, there's so much location I want to go, and to the most exotic one, and also a lot of here in Brazil, because it's a huge country and you have every time something new to know about. But the one place that I've always dreamed about is actually New York, because I'm a huge fan of the TV show Friends. So I'm a Friends generation, and I've always loved it. So I think I even postponed always this trip because I wanted to be so perfect that I can't decide to go.
Well, that's awesome, Jennifer. I know that when my family went to New York, we've been there several times now. It's a little easier for me to get to, certainly.
Yeah.
And when we did go there, we did do some Friends elements. Like we, of course, went to the corner where their apartment was, even though, of course, it has nothing to do with their apartment, and all of those things. So I definitely hope that you go there. It warms this host's heart, since I try to make every title of CX Passport a Friends-like title, the one with or the one where they. So you are in good company here as someone else who loves the TV show Friends. And there's so much more to New York as well, so I hope that you get there someday. One thing about Brazil, one thing about Thailand, one thing about Brazil, New York, phenomenal food, right? These are all great places. So what is a favorite thing of yours to eat?
Wow, that's actually a complicated question for me, because I love everything.
Everything.
But, since I'm French, I'm a cheese girl. So, yeah, I can't live without cheese, for sure.
Oh, my gosh. I love cheese. You make me so happy. Friends and cheese. I've got everything with that I need.
We got to match.
All right, let's go the other direction. Yeah, we'll go the other direction, Jennifer. What is something your parents forced you to eat, but you hated as a kid?
Well, I think my mom is gonna kill me when she hears this, because she's an incredible chef and everything that she cooks is absolutely amazing. But I mean, when you think as a kid, there are certain things that sometimes we don't eat, And she used to make us liver, and me and my brother were like, oh my God. I mean, the texture, it's.
Yep.
It was something that was very hard for us.
Oh my gosh. It's interesting, Jennifer, liver has come up a couple times as that question. I think there's almost
really?
a generational thing that the generation prior was a little more liver oriented than perhaps the current one. I've heard that a couple times, and I agree with you. I remember some really bad liver and onion meals that I had to eat as a kid, so I'm with you. Let's close out the lounge here. We got to go back and travel again. So what is one travel item, not including your phone, not including your passport, that you will not leave home without?
Well, I live in Brazil, so there is one item that is indispensable here. It's Havaianas, the flip-flop Brazilian. So, I mean, even in winter, we use them all the time, inside the house, outside. So we never live without, actually. So definitely that would be something that would be on my backpack.
Jennifer, that fits everything that I would feel and know about the Brazilian culture, that it would be the flip-flops. I thought you might say swimsuit. Flip-flops fits even better because walking around the streets of Sao Paulo, the flip-flops make more sense.
Yeah.
What a culture. What an absolute, what a great choice that was. I want to talk about, back again to G4. And as I mentioned, the reason that I came to know your company and came to know you as an individual was that victory it was the best customer team at
Yes.
the 2023 Architect Global Awards, right? So I'm curious, what was it about G4 and the business itself that inspired you to focus on customer experience? Why even focus on customer experience, even to the level that you were able to win that award?
Yeah, so I mean, without a doubt, because of its purpose. I mean, being in a company that truly cares about its customer success. And that is actually what really got to me. Because how can I make a real impact into our students' businesses, by creating the best program with my team and delivering it in the best way? I came to Brazil when I was 12, and it changed my lives and my parents' lives. So I think also the importance of education and making it accessible to owners and entrepreneurs by sharing the best practices and delivering applicable contents. And the thing is, our customers that don't buy a product, Rick, they actually buy an outcome. They came to us
Oh, yeah.
because they want us to grow their company. So when we talk about owners and entrepreneurs, we talk about people's dream. And this is very sensitive because they usually have all their monies into their dreams. And so we have a huge responsibility. So first, we must guarantee that we sell the right product to the right person. And getting the wrong ICP into one of our programs only to sell is not the way that we operate. So this is something that I really like. And my teams, well, I mean, they engage with the student right after they purchase our course, and we interact with them all along the journey, as I was telling you. And we truly care about their challenges and making them feel comfortable through the process. So yeah, I think we are very caring with them.
The caring part of it comes through. The interest in the student comes through. The idea that you're selling not a product but an objective comes through. I'm curious, how did you go about, and not so much the culture aspect of it, but kind of what was it about your desire to create a great customer experience? What does that look like when you're listening to a student and then acting on what you hear with the student? How are you, if you're teaching them about customer experience, how are you living great principles of customer experience in G4?
Well, I've always believed that it starts from inside out. So I've always invested myself into treating my team just like we would treat our students. And that for me is priority. So yeah, I invested all my time into training my team, empowering them. And we have created actually a great culture of empathy, of having the highest standards, which is one of our values at G4 Educação. And paying attention to every little detail. And the thing is, we listen to our students, and sometimes we take something that is very personal from its life and we transformed it into experience. But when you arrive at the in-person course, everything is prepared. Everything is there. It doesn't have to be preoccupied with nothing else but content. So, he has his name on the table. His places is separated. He has all the materials. We take some questions about what he likes to eat, what he doesn't eat, if you have allergies. I mean, everything you can imagine, we actually try to help him with.
I like that, and we're back to food. It didn't take long for you and me to get back to food. We're talking about so on your list we've got yes cheese, no liver. Got it. We'll do that. Jennifer, I'm cheating and took a little look at the clock here, and we're running out of time, which kills me because there's a lot more that I'd want to ask you. There was something though that I want to make sure that we talk about. you had mentioned to me a phrase that stuck with me, and it was this phrase, the process of experience. And it resonated with me because it's a key part of my belief about customer experience. It's actually the root of the name of my own company, EX for CX, execution for customer experience. It's this discipline of the process of delivering experience. So I'm curious, tell me, share with the listeners, the viewers, what you mean by the process of experience, and then how have you applied that at G4?
Yes. Well, I like that you mentioned that it's needed discipline, to deliver the best CX, because this is something that I truly believe. And the thing is, as much as I built an amazing team 2 years ago and won the prize this year, the challenge is always to maintain the same level of delivery, even with all the changes in the company, in the team, with new entries and also turnover, of course. But most importantly, because of our growing path, which is always, very chaotic at G4.
Right.
And I think the process of experience is like having a systematic way of doing things and repeating it over and over. But I think we have to just take a step back, because for me, the real process starts even at the hiring process. So onboarding them the right way and let them ramp at the right moment. And the thing for me that is everything that we do and create at G4, it must be done by the eyes of the students. So from the journey that we map to everything that we deliver, it is always from the customer's point of view. And that is very important for me. So yeah, during all the process of how we deliver CX, we have to do repeat training and follow the team, see if everything we're doing is actually making sense to the students, because everything moves so quickly, everything changes so quickly.
Yeah.
And also clients' expectations.
Yeah. Client expectations changes? I can't imagine what you're doing. What's great about that is talking about it, you use the phrase inside out, and absolutely, you're talking about taking it from the inside. I'm hearing, though, so much of that inside out is intended to then support the outside in, because you said at the end, what are we doing? What are we changing? And does it benefit the customer, the student, and all of that? Jennifer, great conversation today. I'm sure that others might want to learn a little bit more about G4 and learn more about you and your approach to customer experience. How can they learn more?
Well, we are all over Instagram, of course, LinkedIn, through G4 Educação, and also we have a site, g4educação.com, so everyone can learn a little bit more, but also through me. I mean, I'm always thrilled to share a little bit of our story. So yeah, everyone that wants to learn a little bit more, I'm totally available.
Awesome. Well, I will get that in the show notes. I'll get the Instagram tag and your LinkedIn URL there. So it's down there in the show notes, folks, to have a click, and you can connect and learn more about Jennifer and about G4 Educação. And hopefully listen to people who can pronounce it so much better than I can. Jennifer, great conversation today. I really enjoyed hearing about kind of the evolution from being a startup, and how do you create a customer experience culture, and how do you then do it when it's in the maintenance mode. I love that we ended with the process of experience, because that's such a key element of going from that startup to the mature company as well. And hey, I loved talking about Thailand. Let's be honest. That's such an enjoyable country, and such an enjoyable country. Jennifer, it was a pleasure talking with you today. Thank you for being on CX Passport.
Well, thank you so much. It was such a delight to be here with you and sharing my stories. It didn't even feel like a podcast, but like a really good conversation.
Thanks for joining us this week on CX Passport. If you like today's episode, I have 3 quick next steps for you. Click subscribe on the CX Passport YouTube channel or your favorite podcast app. Next, leave a comment below the video or a review in your favorite podcast app so others can find and enjoy CX Passport too. Then head over to cxpassport.com for show notes and resources that can help you create tangible business results by delivering great customer experience. Until next time, I'm Rick Denton, and I believe the best meals are served outside and require a passport.